Few filmmakers have had an impact on the public's creative consciousness like Ray Harryhausen, inspiring new generations just as he was inspired by the original King Kong. Virtually all of today's science fiction and fantasy films owe a debt to his vision and innovation, both as a producer and special effects genius. While I enjoy all of the movies he was involved with from the 50s to early 80s, the ones that impacted me the most were 1964's First Men in the Moon, the groundbreaking Jason and the Argonauts from 1963, and the Sinbad film trilogy. Of those three, 1973's The Golden Voyage of Sinbad stands out as exceptional. It was one of the better, if not the best, of all of his features. Incorporating incredible visual effects for its time, the performances and plot were better than most of Harryhausen's movies. Comparing Kerwin Matthews' performance in The Seventh Voyage of Sinbad from 1958 and Patrick Wayne's in the 1977 Sinbad and the Eye of the Tiger, Golden Sinbad, John Philip Law had the most charisma of the trio. Law was perhaps best known at the time for his role opposite Jane Fonda in Barbarella, and the 1966 Cold War comedy The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming. In Golden Voyage, he comes across perfectly as the wily adventurer who isn't so jaded that he can't be in awe of the wonders he encounters. Grading the three heroines of the Sinbad films is a little tougher though. Catherine Grant, Caroline Munro, and Jane Seymour are all admirable in their portrayals, but Munro in Golden Voyage edges out the others in my opinion. Caroline Munro would go on to have roles in At the Earth's Core, The Spy Who Loved Me, and the leading role in the sci-fi cult classic Star Crash. In Sinbad, she is alluring and mysterious, the tattoo on her character's hand adding to her enigma. There's also a Doctor Who comparison in the last two of the series, with Tom Baker and Patrick Troughton depicting the villain in Golden Voyage and Helpful Sage in Eye of the Tiger. The Golden Voyage of Sinbad's cinematography and production design stood out from the others as well, much of the film evoking Frazetta paintings. And really, that's the crux of why this movie had an impact with many of its devotees. It expertly reflects the adventure and fantasy media of the time. Sword fights with an animate Iron Kali statue, and equally animate ship's wooden figurehead, flying demons, centaurs, griffins, and exotic locales were all film manifestations of the genre comics and books of the 70s. What's more, Golden Voyage had a dynamic that the other two films in the series lacked. Seventh Voyage and Eye of the Tiger were entertaining, but their casts, stories, and productions just didn't have the same zeal. For years after its initial theatrical release, Golden Voyage was a tough movie to find. Rarely would it air on television, which was odd since other fantasy films would run regularly, especially other Harryhausen features. Thankfully, in this day and age, finding and watching The Golden Voyage of Sinbad has never been easier. So much so that I debated doing an episode about it at all. What finally decided for me was the movie's previous scarcity, as well as the other Sinbad movies usually getting more acclaim and airplay. Thankfully, Golden Voyage has now earned the glorious reputation I always knew it deserved. Watch or buy the movies discussed in this video by clicking on the links in the description. Doing so will help support Alterpast and is greatly appreciated. Be sure to subscribe to Alterpast and never miss an episode of The Past You Never Knew. Also, thumbs up this video to show us that you think we're on the right track. You can read the original blog post about this subject at alterpast.wordpress.com. Thanks for watching. This is Will Carlson, and I'll see you in the Alterpast.